Robert back here, Bluegrass Bushcraft. I want to share some estate sale finds with you. Stick around. Okay, first of all, I picked up this old Wizard soldering iron. It's an old one, but a good one. This is 100, 140 watts, 120 volt, 60 CY, whatever that is, 12 amp. Duty cycle 1 minute on, 4 minutes off. And this was manufactured for Western Auto stores back in the day, if any of y'all can remember the Western Autos. But I think this was a high dollar gun back in the day, and it works good. Got a bonus little light on there. You can see it works good. It also came with a new in the package spare tip. Probably won't need that for a while, but anyway, I got this for I've been wanting one of these, needing one of these for a project I've got coming up. I've started on it, but before I finish it, I'm going to make a little video and show you what I'm doing with it. It's a little trick I seen on YouTube. I can't take the credit for it. I just seen a video of somebody else doing it. And I know I'm not near as good as this guy, but I'm gonna do my best to make a repair on something with this thing. So, and it's not actually soldering, just using a soldering gun. So y'all stick around and watch for that video. It'll surprise you. Okay, my next find was actually the first thing I found at the estate sale. It caught my eye. Here's a pretty cool little, very small catalytic heater. I've got some of the bigger Coleman versions. I got a couple of those that work the same principle as this, but they're huge and they really put out the heat. And for my little tiny camper build, I think this is going to be ideal in my little camper. I'll crack a window in there, and I got a feeling this is going to keep it really warm in there. And if I put the heater under the compartment, it's just too hot with propane or one of the other heaters. So I think this is going to heat my little camper up really well. We'll open it up, take a look at it. Just turn the top, lift it off, start bouncing you all around. Got a snuffer cap, but it works just like the big ones. It runs on white gas, Coleman fuel or white gas, whatever brand you decide to use. I use the Crown most of the time, but you fill it with the Crown, and with the big ones you turn it upside down until you get about a size of a 50-cent piece wet spot. When it soaks through the fiberglass, and then you light that wet spot, and then in about 10 minutes time it will draw the fuel up through the rest of the wick and then start the heating process. The flame will die down. So I was really tickled to get that. No brand or anything on it, no markings other than Japan, made in Japan. I don't have any idea where in Japan or when or what company, but it seems to be a well-made little heater. I really like it. I think it's going to work out really well for my tiny camper this winter. Okay, something I just learned here just now as I was putting the top back on that, this popped off. And I didn't realize it came off. But check it out. That's a stove burner. So it's a stove and a heater. Now that's too cool. I really like it now. And it looks like at some point it's had a bell. It's missing now, but that's about the size of a gallon paint can, so I can probably get me a bell off of a paint can and modify it to fit that. That'll be an easy fix. Heck yeah. About to forgot to mention, I found the heater first. He said $2 on the heater. So I grabbed it, and then when I picked this up, I asked him, and he asked me again what he told me on the heater, and I said $2, and he said $7 for it all. So I got both of those for $7. So that wasn't a bad deal. Now, how about we go check out the big find of the day, that state sale find. Check this out. Okay, I just had finished up looking at everything at the state sale, and I was starting back down the driveway to put some stuff in my truck, and a family member from the estate sale lived next door, and here they come wheeling this old 12-inch bandsaw on a stand on a little dolly, rolling it down the driveway and up into the estate sale. And I asked them, I said, what do you got to have for it? And they told me to make an offer. And I said, well, I really wouldn't know what it'd be worth. I said, I've got a small one. I'd really love to have a bigger one, something I can rip some bigger boards with. And they said, don't be scared, make an offer. So I offered $20, and they said sold. And he did mention that the only thing he knew was wrong with it, it needed the tires on the wheels. And which I took the cover off of it, and I looked at it, and well, the cover about fell off of it when I tried to take it off. And I looked at it, and the tires looked a little worn, but they were there. So anyway, for $20, I was going to take a chance on it, so I brought it home with me. Hey, after I got this thing home, got to tinkering with it. The blade was off track, and it took me about 10, maybe 15 minutes to figure out how to adjust this thing to get it back on track. I mean, it wasn't easy. It was a complicated process. A lot different than my little newer model 9-inch saw. And but I was able to get it back on track. And went to put the cover back on it, and noticed the cover still wasn't going on right. I mean, it would fall back off real easy. It wasn't snapping on like it should, and couldn't figure it out. I mean, I couldn't tell what it was hitting, and so when I went ahead and turned it on, and I ripped through this 2x6 here, 2x8, whatever it was. I mean, it ripped through no problem, but I could hear a bad grinding noise down in here. I could hear that bottom wheel hitting this cover. So I immediately turned it off when I started ripping. I ripped about an inch or so, and I turned it off, and opened it up, and the wheel it's got a set screw in it that holds it in place against the spindle, and it was out over half the width of the wheel. I mean, at least a half inch or better, and tightened down and rubbing this. So I don't know why somebody had to adjust it out like that. I guess he thought it needed tires why the blade wouldn't stay on it, but it didn't have nothing to do with the tires. I mean, it was just all out of adjustment. So I put the drive wheel back where it belongs, the bottom one, and fine-tune these adjustments on here. I still got a little more to go on this, and I want to spray this. It'll turn, but it's a little stiff. I want to spray some penetrating oil on the adjustment for that bearing there, because I need to get it just a little bit closer to the blade, because it's not actually hitting the blade like it should. It should run on that bearing. The bottom one runs on the bearing, but the top one is not. So I still got to do that. But man, this thing cuts good. I mean, my $20, I mean, I can't beat that. Well, I'm really tickled with it, because my little 9-inch, it didn't have any like a 2-inch adjustment on it. 2 inches is about as max you could cut on that one. But man, look at this. That's a good 6 maybe 8-inch cut depth there. So I'm tickled. So I can rip me some boards there now, and I'm really tickled with that. Walk it back down. But, I'm not going to try to rip with my cameraman here, but I will. Guess guess it'll help if I plug it in first. Hang on. My little 9-inch. It was good for scroll cuts, but it was no good for ripping. Now I don't have a fence, but actually I have a miter gauge that slides in here. I almost guarantee it's a Craftsman too, and I've got it laying there in my shop somewhere that I guarantee it'll fit in here because it's too big for my other saw. So I think this is the one that fits in here. So I've got that, and I'm going to make me a rip fence to put on it. That won't be no trouble. I'll definitely make a rip fence, and I'll be able to rip me some nice pieces. Heck yeah. All right, y'all know the routine. Like, share, subscribe. God bless.